Hi, y'all. Welcome back to the next episode of the Passport Project Read Aloud. I'm Kellie McIntyre, author of the Passport Project. Today we'll be traveling from Bali, Indonesia, to our final destination, China. I'll be reading from chapter 19, The Final Challenge. Delaney, 14. I hate waking up at 4 in the morning for early flights, but this one is worth it. There's only one tiny thing standing between me and the 8th grade, the Great Wall of China. It's the final challenge of our around-the-world quest. And the best news of all, I'll be home just in time for the high school open house on the 24th. Life is good. For me, anyway. Riley woke up sick, but at least it's not Bali belly. We quickly make it through the his and hers airport security lines as required in Muslim nations. Even though the island of Bali is mainly Hindu, it is part of Indonesia, which is an Islamic country. But now, we've been waiting to check in for an hour and a half. With at least 100 passengers in line with us, most of them sitting on the floor, there's no way Abysmal Air can check us in on time. Mom feels Riley's forehead, then pulls 2 white pills out of the medicine bag. After the case of the missing backpack in Sri Lanka, she won't let anyone else be in charge of it. Go lie on one of those. Mom points to empty benches along the wall. Finally, an Abysmal Air agent shows up and rushes through the line collecting passports. She scurries off carrying a rainbow stack of passports. 20 minutes later, the agent reappears, handing out passports and boarding passes. That's so weird, Mom says, inspecting our boarding passes. What is? I ask. She didn't ask for our visa information or proof of onward travel. And she only gave us our boarding passes to Shanghai, not Beijing. This is the most clueless airline yet. No doubt. Do you realize we've been traveling over 4 months without a single hiccup? Not a missed connection, not a goofed up hotel reservation, not a single visa issue. Nothing has gone wrong. It's been flawless. Mom gushes with pride. We finally board and settle in. For once, Riley falls right to sleep. Mom and Dad sit in the row across from us. Our flight departed an hour late, and Mom checks her watch every few minutes. When the flight attendant brings drinks, Mom tries to ask her a question about our connection. But the flight attendant's English is limited to the snack menu, and our Mandarin is limited to ni hao, hello. Way later than scheduled, we land in Shanghai. Move fast and stick together, Dad says when we enter the jetway. Our connection is very tight. We speed walk through the crowd like 6th graders learning to switch classes until we reach immigration. We approach an immigration window and hand over our passports. Visa? The officer asks. Yes, 72 hours, Mom says. Onward flight confirmation? My mom shows her our flight confirmation from Beijing to Chicago 3 days later. This is from Beijing. Her face shows no expression. Yes, I know. Our tickets are to Beijing, not to Shanghai, Mom says, her voice going up an octave. It's one reservation, Bali to Beijing. Please look. She hands over our itinerary. The officer's face changes, and not in a good way. She gets the attention of another officer and waves him over. He looks reasonably friendly as immigration officers go. Again, Mom explains the scenario. We have tickets to Beijing. We are flying home from Beijing. Our flights connect in Shanghai. And bam! Before we can count to San, he snatches our passport and turns us over to a not-so-friendly Chinese immigration officer. Excuse me, sir, Dad begins. Immigration officer number 3 narrows his eyes and screams something in Mandarin. Mom's face turns white as Dad's turns red. I don't have to speak the language to know this guy is on a serious power trip looking for a place to happen. And we're about to be that place. Without another word, the Chinese official herds us into a corner of immigration and turns us over to a guard. Holy crap. Confiscated passport, guard, communist country. We're starring in our very own episode of Locked Up Abroad. While my parents whisper to each other, Riley and I assess our holding cell. I've never been sent to detention in school, much less in a foreign country. This is not good. Not good at all. We've only been with the guard for a few minutes when another officer escorts 3 20-ish-year-old guys to join us. Our tickets are to Beijing, one guy yells. We were told it was okay to get off the plane. We didn't even know we were stopping here. Their pale faces are tinged with anger. The smug officer refuses to listen. He smirks and struts away. We swap stories, and theirs is identical to ours. They have tickets from Japan to Beijing and from Beijing to Australia 3 days later, using the 72-hour tourist visa. We're just getting acquainted when another immigration officer brings a Russian woman to join our detention party. When the officer learns she has no visa and no onward ticket, she's escorted away. We never see her again. 3 nationalities, 3 itineraries. The only thing we have in common is abysmal air. A long hallway extends from our corner of immigration to an employee entrance. Freezing, polluted air pours into the building each time the door opens. The security employees working in this area wear coats and masks inside the building to protect them from the cold and pollution. We huddle together on the floor, shivering in our Bali weather clothes. The guard refuses to let us get our coats from our suitcases. We tuck our faces into our shirts to filter the indoor pollution. And wait. For what? I have no clue. Dad asks the guard, "Can we please get some water? We've been here for hours." Almost an hour later, the water arrives. 2 mini bottles for the 7 of us. The size that parents pack in their preschooler's lunch. Our family takes 1. Don't let it touch your lips, I tell Rye when she takes a sip. I don't want what she has. My parents are always telling us to look for the silver lining in bad situations. Fortunately, I don't have to look far. There are 3 blonde ones in front of me. Cute, cuter, and cutest. Meanwhile, the conversation with our detention buddies goes like this. Them. Where are you from? Mom. We're from the United States. Them. You'll be fine. We're from Sweden. It won't be good for us. Dad. Are you kidding? Everyone hates America. No one hates Sweden. You'll be fine. We're hosed. And just like that, I start laughing. It's the kind of laughing when you know you shouldn't, like at a funeral, and the more you try not to laugh, the harder you do. It's not my fault that I don't know how to act. What to do when you're detained in a communist country isn't a chapter in any of the guidebooks. This isn't funny, Dad whisper scolds. His usual pink face is unusually pale. He's right. It's not funny. It's absurd. My life is absurd. 2 days ago, I just wanted to survive Bali Belly. Now, I'm being held in a communist country. Is being a normal 8th grader too much to ask? After 3 hours, Mr. Power Trip and an abysmal air rep approach our group. They lock eyes with the Swedish guys and announce, "It's all straightened out. We talked to your embassy. You will be on the next flight to Beijing." Mom untucks her face from her shirt. What about us? Oh no, not you, just the Swedes. Seriously? We're a family with a couple of underweight, athletically challenged girls, a dad with bad knees, and a mom who's only scary when she's hangry. And we're the bigger threat than 3 single guys in their 20s? Then we're given the American options. Option 1, pay $2,800 and immediately fly home from Shanghai. Or option 2, deport China and fly to Hong Kong at Abysmal Air's expense. Then pay another $14 to fly to Beijing so we can catch our already booked and paid for flight home. That's absolutely asinine. We already have tickets to Beijing. Mom's disgust hangs in the air. Riley leans over so only I can hear her. They must think we have money shooting out our butts like a bad case of Bali belly. Those are your only options. Mr. Superiority Complex narrows his eyes, obviously enjoying his dominance. He slaps our stack of passports against his hand, teasing us with his power, each slap reminding us that we have none. After my parents choose option 2, the immigration dictator turns us over to the Abysmal Air agent. We are officially his problem now. He's required to get us out of China as quickly as possible. After another 2.5 hours, our airline chaperone informs us we have seats on the 5:05 p.m. flight to Hong Kong. Hallelujah! We're finally getting out of airport lockup. At 6 o'clock, we're still in detention, alone. Our flight to freedom left an hour ago. The Abysmal Air bonehead returns, and now he's trying to force us on the 9:45 p.m. flight, arriving in Hong Kong after midnight. No! We've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. We're not leaving at 9:45, Mom says, throwing her hands in the air. After hours of talking in circles with Chinese immigration and Abysmal Air, my parents are cracking. This is ridiculous. We should have been on the 5 o'clock flight, Dad lashes out. Don't you care how you treat your customers? No, sir. The Abysmal Air rep sticks out his jaw and slowly shakes his head. I do not. And bam! Mom does something I've only seen one other time in my life. She cries. And not just a few tears rolling down her cheeks, but a full-on, I think Mom's having a breakdown episode. Ryan and I wipe away Mom's tears in a weird role reversal, assuring her it will be okay. But will it? Does she know something that we don't? In the middle of the Shanghai International Airport, the 4 of us embrace in a Hallmark Channel group hug. Other travelers stare as they walk by, careful not to get too close. 6 hours and $1,400 later, we have confirmed seats to Hong Kong tomorrow morning, and then to Beijing. There's a word for this kind of idiocracy, but I'd be grounded forever if I used it. Our Abysmal Air babysitter escorts us to the airport hotel with strict orders not to leave and to check in for our flight first thing in the morning, as if we'd miss it. The hotel only offers rooms with twin beds, but my parents refuse for us to separate. So Ryan and I share a twin, and so do my parents. No one complains. I need to let my parents know what's going on. Mom opens the door. There's Wi-Fi in the lobby. Be careful what you say. They're probably monitoring our communications, Dad warns. Do y'all remember when we thought getting kicked out of that souvenir shop in Italy was bad? I ask. Who can forget that, Riley says. I really wanted that scarf. Those were the good old days. back when I didn't know you could get kicked out of a country. Rye and I lay our heads on the same pillow. We're positive it's filled with rice, and settle in for an unsettling night. And that is where we are ending the China chapter. You definitely want to finish this chapter on your own. You will be shocked by the ending. Passport lesson number 12. Freedom is like oxygen. You don't realize how important it is until it is gone. One of the questions from the China chapter is, when the McIntyres don't have the right visa due to their flight's itinerary, they are detained at the airport. How did you feel reading about the McIntyres' detainment and deportation? Was it fair or unfair? Let me know in the comments. And in the next episode, we will begin our journey back to Alabama.
I hope you've enjoyed traveling around the world with me.
Until then, dream big and travel far.